There hasn't been too much activity on this hive, which has me concerned. So either all the bees are hanging out inside, I would say trying to beat the heat, but that wouldn't make sense because hives are naturally pretty warm given the weather. I'm surprised not to see more bees on the front porch fanning, some fanning in, some fanning out. And if you don't know, that's their way of providing circulation. So kind of like our HVAC systems, that's how they circulate air through the hive. Alright, so I'll give y'all a first look before I get into it. So this was part of the brood chamber, but they were storing a lot of honey in it and minimum capped brood. So just like other things this year, I made the decision to move this deep above the honey super and see if I can maximize my honey harvest this year with a super that is a deep instead of a medium or shallow. I'd say that's a good first sign. So that frame kind of spotty with the capping of the honey, the cured honey, but probably about 70%, maybe 80% capped. So over the next 2 to 3 weeks, into about mid-June, they should not have a problem curing that entire frame. This frame, these are larger cells, so this was drone cells at one point. And some nectar throughout that one. I'm kind of just going for 50%. If 50% of this super, of this deep, can turn into cured honey, I'd be pretty happy with that. This is a heavy frame, and everything that's not capped is pollen. So not every frame is going to be 100% capped honey. They will clearly use it as any food store, which includes pollen as well. And if you can see the color difference in the uncapped cells, that's what pollen looks like. But there is harvestable honey on these frames. And of course, as the beekeeper, you would want more solid frames, but beggars can't be choosers, as they say. But nevertheless, there's a nice amount of harvestable honey. And it progressively gets a little better, which, due to this location, I have come to accept because the sun hits the left side of the box first. So I have noticed that the bees start working that side of the box first, and the right side is just less capped or last to be capped. Queen cells with, well, they say dry queen cells. Doesn't have a larva, just because there weren't any eggs when I moved this deep above the queen excluder. Funky looking comb, but nice looking honey. This is kind of what I wanted to see throughout the deep, but you don't always get what you want with beekeeping. But this is a nice frame. It's probably about 10 pounds. so that was the deep. Now I'm gonna take this off. Take a look at the medium. It's been on there for a little bit. It's been on there for like a week or two. I can't remember. Just kind of just want to get an idea. See if they've been working that or not. And that deep is heavy. So I usually just pull the middle frame. It's the best indication whether they've been working new frames or not. And they actually have. They've actually been doing a pretty good job here. So you can see that. It's frame 5, frame 6. Alright, so not bad. Let's look at the very last frame, frame 10. We got some work to do still. But okay, yeah, so it's coming along. Let's get this deep back on. This thing's heavy. And it's awkward to lift something that heavy in such a narrow space. Yeah, I'm not going to tear into hive 1. Actually, I'm not going to tear into hive 2 either. They seem to be doing okay. Just making some honey. So let's look into hive. Let's look into hive number 2. Same thing. Just going to take off the supers. Top super will be the older one. I don't remember when I added these supers, but they've been working them pretty aggressively. Alright, let's take a look again. So from what I can see, some nice wax and capped honey. Set this up here and let's take a look. Alright, so that's a good sign. Another few weeks, this should be moving along nicely. That's frame 1. Some nice stored nectar, which should mean the rest of the frames, as I move through them, progressively get better. So frame 2's got some nice nectar as well. Frame number 3's got some weight to it and some capped honey. Let's move this over here. Frame 3, so 4. That's the left side of frame 4. And then the right side. So like I said, sun hits the box on this side, the southeast side. So I moved from right to left. So usually the frames towards the left side of the colony, starting at frame 10, they're the ones that the queens build the brood on first and cap it. And now I've learned they start working the honey, storing the nectar and curing it into honey on, well, starting from frame 10. It's frame 6. So there's still quite a few bees up here, which does make sense because not everything's 100% cured. So they're still working it. But considering this is the top super now, I'm really curious to see how the bottom super looks and whether or not they've started to draw out some comb and or store some honey or nectar. But yeah, it's a nice looking frame there. It's frame 7. frame 8. So they either work the left side of the box aggressively or around the center. So frames 5 to 10. And on this colony it looks like, well, as I say that, I was going to say 7, but that's frame 9. Both sides, about 70 to 80%. And then frame 10, they're storing some nectar and capping it. Alright, so the top super, the one that's been on here the longest, is looking just fine. And put all these frames back, move the super off, take it off, and then we'll see how the bottom super is looking. I'm not expecting too many results in the last week or so, but you know, it would be nice to be surprised as well. And kind of what I was hoping not to see, if you can tell, there's some bees in there, but I don't think they've done anything. So I've had this super on frame, or on hive number 1 for a while. The bees didn't touch it. It's been over here on the, I'd say the more aggressive or healthier colony. And as you can see, there is like absolutely no wax or anything. Alright, so I'm not going to waste too much time by going through that. I'm going to put the older super back on and then wrap this up. Hive number 1, I was hoping to see more frames in the deep super full of nectar, hopefully soon to be cured honey, than there were. However, the frames that are in there, it is a good amount of honey that is harvestable. Probably, if I had to guess, I could probably get maybe 20 to 30 pounds out of that super. And then the bottom super, which is still kind of new, I wasn't expecting much, and they're not doing much either, so nothing really to talk about there. Hive number 2, that top super is the older one. It was put on maybe over a month ago. They are probably about 80% full. That super is probably 80% full. They still have a few frames that have capped, or sorry, they're still building out a few frames just to finish them. A few frames with nectar that hasn't been cured, and then quite a few frames of very nice solid cured honey. So definitely going to be harvesting that soup. If y'all like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to receive notifications of future videos being posted. Again, if you have any tips or tricks for me, or if you see me doing anything weird or whatever, please leave your comments below and I'll try to respond to every single one. Alright, thanks for watching everybody.